Hello. Hey. I'm back. I'm back on YouTube. Let's get some of this in front. It's better for the aesthetic, you know. Welcome to Let Me Out Productions in the top brass down. Hey, 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 hey. Woo! Put some syrup on it. And serve it up. Oh no. I'm back. I'm back on YouTube. At least we know the audio works. Okay. Infinite window. Perfect. Alright, let's get into it. Let's talk about impact puzzles. Hello, everybody. My name is Kamani Okira. I'm the author of Impact Puzzles on the Elmo Structure for Tokenomics. When I originally wrote this paper, it was simply called the Elmo Structure for Tokenomics. It was 14 pages in the published draft that was passed around in early 2021, before the market started gambling on non-fungible tokens. We were using them as Legos in a Lego kit to complete a result in intellectual property. So in order to do that, you have to take, I even have like a little sentence metaphor here. I guess I should appeal to authority real quick. Yeah, like I said, my name's Kamani Okira. I'm a media producer of 20 years. Okay. And I am a cognitive linguist, and I can comfortably claim that title for 8 or 9 years. Before that, I was just a linguist with a background in phonetic analysis. And now I study the creation and delivery of meaning, including the creation and delivery of value. So right here. An impact puzzle, very simply, is you take the intellectual property, the IP, of any brand, franchise, product, service, experience, distributed asset, set of logistics, any container, any intellectual property container that you would like to diversify and account for contribution. You take that container and you say, this is no longer one unit belonging to one individual. This is a puzzle, an impact puzzle, in fact, and each piece is an equal equity amount of contribution, rights, process, and results, titled to the contributor as a piece of the property. And we use the non-fungible token to create the puzzle piece and establish the underlying structure. Now, I wrote the paper, and I came to market with these bad boys, the company ownership tokens, and our brand. Our brand is Let Me Out Productions. Let Me Out Productions is an intellectual property first and foremost. It then wraps the market activity of a limited liability company. But before it wraps the market activity of a limited liability company, it is a brand. It is an intellectual property. That intellectual property, that container, is not one unit. It is several units. 500,000 units, in fact, forming the first impact puzzle in history. So each unit of account in the brand of Let Me Out Productions is a set of rights, processes, and results that the contributor creates for the brand. And the customer-facing pieces, of which there will eventually be 80,000, look like these are these bad boys. Each one is a puzzle piece in the brand, carrying 15 rights, processes, and results that you create and contribute for the brand benefit and for your own benefit. The number one thing that you're doing is you're learning about the impact puzzle firsthand through developing your own piece of the property, and you'll develop your own piece into a sovereign impact puzzle in your own brand, product, service, experience, franchise, distributed asset, set of logistics, whatever have you, whatever intellectual property container you would like to develop with the community and account for contribution using individual pieces, form an impact puzzle, and bring it to market, sovereign. So you take your property, you write a deed to the property, a deed, an old-timey deed. This exists. I created this intellectual property. This exists. Here are my fixed points, my measurable distances, and this is the impartial witness. The fixed points are the non-fungible tokens. You're looking at them. The measurable distance is the serialization between each token and or the time map. We like to use both. The time map of the chronological time map of creation. And then the impartial witness is the technology itself, blockchain. Blockchain is it's really simple. Okay? It's like LimeWire for Dilbert, honestly. When I send you $20 on Cash App, that data network registers that transaction with one carbon footprint because it's a single transaction going through on the data network. And that makes sense, right? That makes sense to you? On Ethereum, when I file a transaction, it'll take all of the transactions filed in that exact same millisecond, stack them on top of each other into a block. That's what's called, in that layered stack of transactions, that forms a block. And then those blocks are recorded in a chain by a network of data validators. And that network of data validators each puts up a stake of $60,000 or more value. It fluctuates because it's based on the currency itself of the notary, but they put up a significant amount of financial value against their word, and now they're just stamping the record with a bunch of other people that have done the same thing. And they plug in their existing device, a phone or a computer that they have, into that network to validate, and then we pay them a small fee every time we validate a record. That's called the gas fee. It powers the network. So it's just a system for impartial witness of authentic information. It's open access. Anybody can use it. And here we are forming deeds. Our deed is declaring our intellectual property, defining it for the community, and defining it as a puzzle inherent to the structure. Each puzzle piece is an equal amount of equity, forming the totality of the result, and each puzzle piece is a set of rights, a set of processes, and the stated results that the owner has developed with those rights and processes. The pieces can account for customer labor, meaning they can purchase a piece as property in a community garden, like you're looking at right now, and develop that property into the permanent result that is either sovereign to them or co-published, co-produced, co-curated in some way with the publisher, with Let Me Out Productions. In this case, there's 15 different results. The number one result is people will buy these, they'll develop them into their own impact puzzles with first-hand experience from the creator themselves. So that's the primary benefit. My stomach started hurting mad just as I was getting into this. I was afraid of that. Okay, while we're on the topic. Okay. If you're squeamish, now's not a good time to look in the bottom right corner, but here we go. Okay. I've been cut in half twice. Here to here, here to here. I'm all messed up over here. This is where I have to literally pull my intestines apart to trigger a bowel movement. And then you can see another couple surgeries on this side. So 6 surgeries overall. It is a morbid disability, meaning that if I don't do all of these things to manage and survive what I'm tasked to do, I could die from sepsis rather quickly. So there's a number of exercises and tools and conditions that I have to set up for myself just to get through every day. I don't want people feeling bad for me, but I do want people to understand that after 20 years of crafting intellectual property at a high level, structuring this stuff at a high level, I can't turn in a 12-hour day on set unless it's my show. And there's a bed in the office and nobody's going to miss me for 2 hours when I have to go open up my GI tract. I'm sure it's an issue that can be solved with some stem cell attention, but I don't know much about that, and I know that's a long way off of my wealth matrix. So in the meantime, I'm teaching people about intellectual property, fractionalizing it into a puzzle And puzzle is a key term because it's the best way to structure a property that inherently, to the structure of the property, creates the relationship of development. We saw with the non-fungible token, which is, okay, I also want to be clear. We went through blockchain, how it's a public notary service that records things in blocks and keeps those blocks in a chain. Hooray. And then every single blockchain has different currencies that you can use to trade value and transact value for different conditions on the network. Don't gamble on anything, is what I say. Don't gamble on it. Don't purchase things expecting the value of your purchase to go up. That can happen. That does happen. People win big. But don't involve yourself in the technology for passive purchase and passive gains, because you're just going to, like, honestly, 95% of the people got burned looking for that. 98% of the people got burned. And that's just not how anything really works in life, or even on the public notary service. That can kind of seem cool and hype depending on who you're talking to about it, but it's public notary service programmable, so we can enforce automatic payment relationships and put conditions on custody and things like that you couldn't imagine before. So that's really neat. Okay, let's talk about the company ownership token. This is the premier impact puzzle on the blockchain. The first one ever launched, March of 2021, March 24th, 2021. And each piece is a unique set of rights, processes, and results. This is the list, the active impact tree, as we call it here. So the first perk of a piece of the brand. Let's go ahead and let's go ahead and get a window open, huh? We all want to look at the puzzle while we're talking about it, so let's do that. Alright, ownership definitions here. Okay, so you're looking at the first impact puzzle, and these are the all the available pieces. In fact, let's go ahead and look at all of the pieces, so everybody can get a good feel of the art project that this is too. Number one, number two, it's in chronological order. So when a customer buys a piece of our brand, and the breakdown is 16% of the brand is for public development, 84% of the brand is retained as private account for myself as a founder, our two co-founders, Aaron Apodaca and Nick Malve, and our, goodness gracious, I believe it's 17 regents and advisors. And that list has changed throughout the years, so in the deed that we have on chain right now, all of the names that are on there are redacted. Because I've had to last and outlast the gamblers and get here to be able to explain this with my own autonomy without people looking for leverage and seeking sanctimony and refusing to listen to me. Okay? And choosing to form an opinion in their head about what the gamblers are doing and refusing to look at what the builders are doing. So we went through blockchain. It's a decentralized, that's what that means, community ran, community authenticated notary service, and value transfer service as well. Theoretically, you can do some banking on it, but you know, one of the things is everything on it is public. So if you're holding huge amounts of value in a wallet on this public notary service, you're going to end up being the target of a lot of scams and stuff. So just keep that in mind. I'm not here to give security protocols, though. I'm here to get through this impact puzzle breakdown. So with Let Me Out Productions, we have our deed right here. and it explains what the company is and does, what the brand is and does. I'm a linguist, so company exists to mean com is Latin for together, pan is bread, so it exists to describe a group of people, specifically artists, specifically performing artists, like stage artists, that are breaking bread after a performance. So a theater company got its name from staging an experience for an audience and then enjoying a meal with the audience after the experience. So, compagnie is to eat bread together. So when you ownership is authority over, that is what ownership exists to mean, and token exists to mean proof. So proof, representation, etc. So proof of your authority over the right to eat bread together. And that's how we're building our brand. And unfortunately, you know what, I'm not going to get into that. And if you're out there and you know what's up, you're probably really proud of me right now. Hey, let's move on. Okay. So 16% of the brand, of the 500,000 piece impact puzzle that makes up Let Me Out Productions, forms an 80,000 piece pool. We call this the schedule, just loosely the schedule. Out of the schedule, only 200 pieces are available at any given time, and we release them on what's called a chronological growth curve. Every single one of these develops into an impact puzzle. Time and time and time again, as many times as the owner wants to develop impact puzzles with their piece, or pieces, if they have multiple pieces. And that means that every impact puzzle that they launch for publication, if it's monetized, the position that they're creating for themselves as a publisher is usually, honestly, even the small ones, like the 2,500 piece puzzles, are like $400,000 positions as a publisher. It's kind of crazy. It's actually kind of nuts. And all it is a zeitgeist moment for a community that decides to buy pieces of property for sometimes $5, sometimes $20, sometimes $100, $200, $300, depending on what the property is. And they develop that property into the results. Those results are either sovereign, which means that they publish the results, they run the results, they're completely sovereign from the central publisher, from the publishing house, from the studio, or from the brand franchise, from whatever they're developing out of. And then there's co-published, co-produced, and co-curated results. So co-published results, for example, we do a catch and release for these. It's the second perk here you see, which means you buy a piece, you get to make a piece. I don't want to make all these pieces. I don't want to make 80,000 pieces of art. I could, but you don't see me plugging in a generator. You see me making everything by hand here. Jeez. I load up Photoshop, I get in there, I mess around, I create things that I think are funny or weird or good looking. I use photos I take throughout the day all over the place. Like this is Fort Greene in Brooklyn, a silhouette of the castle there. It's available. You can actually see it on the stream. Ooh, this side, right over here. 0.131 Ethereum. Develop that! Develop it into an impact puzzle called City Castle. It's actually perk number 9 here on the on the ownership thing. Okay, so you buy a piece, you make a piece. You get access to the digital template, where you can print out the black and white, and then you can literally create your own piece that is then co-published in our supply. Now, co-published means that the publisher handles the publication. You're not going to go then take that piece and go publish it separately out of the puzzle supply. That doesn't make any sense. You wouldn't want that anyway, given how this technology works. So you're providing the piece to Let Me Out Productions, who then publishes the piece, and then upon a sale condition, you're paid a per sale commission. It's 50% of the list. So if you make piece number 500, then your piece will be listed for 0.5 Ethereum, and if that sells, you'd receive 0.25 Ethereum. Ideally, on an automated ecosystem contract, but hey, if it has to be manually audited and issued that way, it's no different than any other thing in history. So, shout out to Johnny Taylor. He owns this bad boy. The one that says this is an NFT. I figured Johnny would really, really like that one. Luke Baratz, if you watch this, please get your Rainbow wallet because I want to give you a company ownership token. And good. This was the one. That was the one I was concerned about on the slider here. 142. All right, so develop your own impact puzzle. You start with any concept, anything that you have to bring to market as anything. Brand, franchise, product, service, experience, distributed asset, set of logistics. Whatever container that you want to bring to market, that's intellectual property. Once you've created that intellectual property, you have your root basis for an impact puzzle because you're just taking the container and you're saying this is not one unit, it's several units. Okay, here's the actual visual metaphor here. Property becomes Property in brackets. All right, it's a paradigm shift that does require your separation of thought from the property and the entity. The entity, when you take a business entity, like if I wanted to take Let Me Out Productions LLC as it's registered with the state and say, hey, to the state, I want to go offer to the community a pool of investment contracts and take the ownership of the entity away from our private governance and offer a pool of investment contracts that I'll sell for deposits of value. And I'm going to receive those deposits of value with the promise that I'm going to run the business in a way that those deposits will gain in value. That's entity investment. That's not what this is. I want to be absolutely clear with folks. That already exists. We're not doing that at Let Me Out Productions. If we were, we would file a C Corp and we would go through the whole 9 yards that way. We're not doing that here. We are a media publisher. We're a small-time media publisher. We're just taking our brand. The brand is no longer one unit. It's a 500,000-piece puzzle. If you'd like to buy a piece and develop the results, go for it. If you don't, that's fine too. Don't hop on a radio broadcast and accuse me of a crime, make changes to my published material, and go advertise yourself as the architect of my work. You are beaten. It is useless to resist. Don't let yourself be destroyed, as Obi-Wan did. Okay, people. It's there. I'm taking it, so get on or whatever. All right. Top Brass DAO, access and governance. Every impact puzzle needs a third-party audience experience guarantor. And who better to do that than the people who have the puzzle pieces? That's them. They're their own guarantor. As long as they have a separate a presence that has a separate realm of governance over how the property runs and how the property publishes, and has contingencies in place for when if a publisher fails at any duty that it's supposed to provide on any of these impact tiers, then the Top Brass DAO would step in and guarantee that impact tier. So, number 3, we are the first impact puzzle. The third impact tier is the first Top Brass DAO guarantor. So you guys are the top brass of the brand. That's why we call it the Top Brass DAO. DAO is decentralized autonomous organization, so that operates with or without any central publisher involved. So all of the property parcels as they exist will continuously be able to generate their impact with or without a Let Me Out Productions ran by myself and the co-founders and the founding regents and advisors producing content. Limited content access. I love this one. We have a few things out. The one everybody should go check out, the Hollywood Scouts anyway, is this bad boy, The Devil You Don't. Let me put him in chat. I love this film. I hope all filmmakers go through the same experience I do when you go through like a period of separation from your work, and then it's almost like you didn't make it at all. It's like the younger you is like a different. It's like You know what I mean? Like, that's now a different filmmaker that you can study, but with a little bit more insight. You feel me? But it's not me today. Like, that's not something. This isn't something I could make today. We're not going to watch it on stream. But there's the devil you don't. Okay, we're gonna watch this one sick camera transition I did. Woo! Len's face.
Am I in trouble? No, nothing like that. This is about school.
Woo! I really enjoy that film. It's a great flick. It's aged on me well. I didn't necessarily love it when it came out because I had to do some experimental work to cover for some technical issues. Hey, if it's you that's watching this, you remember you left the mic off during that one scene that we recorded with my now dearly departed uncle? Uh-huh. You better grab like 100 of these bad boys. All right. So you grab one of these, and now you're a developer. You're an owner and a developer of the brand. 0.0002% ownership of Let Me Out Productions as a container of intellectual property. You have your own individual unit of that container, and your individual unit develops these 15 ways. The first point of development is you're developing it into your own puzzle container. Time and time and time again. You want to learn. I figured out the best way a long time ago. The best way to learn is through experience. And I do have flex credentials if you need to know. You know what? I better do that. Yeah, that one. Let's open up with the strongest credit for IP structure that I have. And that's my guys and gals over at The Bachelor. Well, let me not be so gender specific. My everybody over at The Bachelor, I love y'all. I love y'all. Y'all have, like, oh my god. I did 2 weeks over there, okay? I was a fill. But the thing is, it was one of the best sets I ever worked on. They ran a 5-unit operation out there in South Lake Tahoe for this. And I guess we can play a little audio, huh? No, that bear was not there. That's some stock footage.
We're in South Lake Tahoe, and it is such a contrast from Los Angeles. It's clear blue sky.
I didn't shoot any of this. I did IP structure. I helped them put the whole thing together for what this was in South Lake Tahoe. And they spend millions of dollars per episode. So you can imagine, I think it was $25 million on the entire season, but I think they also went to France, so I don't know how much the France trip was. If ABC and the Team Bachelor is vouching for me, I work directly under Ned, and Ned's a real one. I learned so much from Ned. Okay, all right. What else? What else we got? Anthony Padilla, I love you, brother. What you up to? Come up to Sacramento and get sushi with me, and so we can get press pass going. I'm so frustrated with you, man. I'm one of the only people IRL that's actually equipped to be a new friend, because I'm an old friend, but actually, you know what I mean? Same thing extends to Ian, but I feel like, okay, let me shut up. Here we go.
White people be like,
Hello, my name's Roger. I drive a Ford Focus, and I drink soy milk.
black people be like,
What? Go ahead and finish it, man. What do black people be like?
Okay, I'm not an actor in that either. IP structure! Like how I can't even. That one's so tough because it was sketch comedy and they were doing like 14 changeovers a day on average. Structure, how everything runs and flows, and just the sinew of it all. Without people like me, all this would fall apart. It's not like some super special skill. I feel like anybody can learn how to do it. It's just being responsible around numbers. I don't know. Zeros move, but I mean, you know, don't get scared of zeros. I'm not scared of zeros. I've never had zeros in my pocket, but I'll tell you what, I ain't in no debt. That's right, sing on a bear. Okay. 15 impact tiers. First impact tier, develop your own puzzle time and time again. It's not a one-time thing. You buy it, you own that parcel, and it does develop one puzzle at a time. And even if you stack up on these, I think we only develop more than one puzzle at a time on your, like, with active support from Let Me Out Productions as a publisher. If you have 177 of them. So get started on collecting. That's right. Build that bad boy up. Build up that wallet. Let's see it. Yeah, grab a piece, develop it into an impact puzzle time and time and time again. Any brand, product, service, experience, distributed asset, set of logistics, any intellectual property container that you have that you want to launch this way and have people buy and develop parcels into results, permanent results that are sovereign for them or co-published or co-produced or co-curated. Those are the 4 options for the results that they're producing and permanent. Okay. You buy one, you get to make one. So let's look at one that's been made. Let's look at the purchased one, which was this one here. And then let's look at the one that was provided, which is number 321. The great thing about this is I know this. I don't think I'll ever lose track of what's going on in this thing, with no matter how many pieces there are. And that one was. Where are you? Oh, it's 3. It's 300 something. I can't wait for this to get the credit it's due. Can y'all stop with the membership nonsense? Oh, I know. If you know, you know, and we'll leave it there. Okay, so 90, well, I pulled it up. So it was 93 press start was the one that was provided. Oh, no, this is the one that I made, sorry. I made this one just by kind of messing around on Photoshop with a bunch of layers and doing and messing with shapes and lines, and I do this all the time. It's one of my favorite ways to make art. Just make something compelling that I find to look at. So it's called, oh wait, no, this one isn't it. That's not it. It's not press start. It's now playable. Because I remember our whole IP pitch. But anyway, let me load up the one that they provided, which is 321. And I'll go pull up now playable. There it is. Okay. Okay. So they're co-publishing our own puzzle by adding their own piece to the supply. This is a great way for people to immediately understand that it's not an investment, but by co-publishing on a conditional markup, which is what we have built into our supply, and every time we do a co-published supply, we have a conditional markup built into what we call the legacy pieces. So that way the person who is co-publishing that piece has a chance to, if it sells, it's no guarantee it'll sell, but if it does sell and they're getting 50% of that sale, that 50% should more than cover their original purchase price. That's the intention of this specific co-published catch and release method. And it helps the publisher, who doesn't like a really diverse spread of art in the impact puzzle thing. The only drawback to that is if you get somebody who might have like a lore that is acidic to your brand's nature. And you may not know that because it's a public notary service. Anybody can buy these and develop results. And if somebody buys them and develops results and they're not somebody that you would ultimately want to be affiliated with, maybe this isn't the publishing method for you. So just keep that in mind. You can make a lot of money. You can add generational wealth to you and your family this way by publishing your intellectual property container as a puzzle. But you are opening up that piece development to anybody in the world. So you do have to be open to the idea that any customer can come in and purchase the parcel, develop these results, and it's wide open. So intellectual property puzzle development service. Now we have a 56 benchmark. In fact, I'll brief it to you real quick. It's right here. We have a 56 benchmark process to developing an impact puzzle. So I've got a write your deed, and I've got one for a creative project and more so a brand. The creative project is if you're telling a story, and a brand is if you're releasing something for the market. If you're going for a product, do the brand one. If you're looking to tell a story around your product, do the creative project one. So there's a 56 benchmark. I'll show you guys a couple of them. Woo! Screenshot it, everybody. Screenshot it. Whoa! Can you get it all? All right. Actually, there's subtasks in this, so you can't even get it all from there. But yeah, you fill out this in order. And then you write a deed based on the answers that you have. And no matter who goes through this, even if you end up with the same brand name as somebody else, and you're doing different things in different industries, because that happens all the time, your impact puzzles are going to be very different. And it'll be interesting to see. Why are my eyes bugging me all of a sudden? Oh, it's allergy season. I might have to take care of that, actually. On stream, everybody. Eye drops on stream. What's the, I just watched something where the eye drops were like the drug. Like they were all getting hardcore stoned off eye drops. Oh, it's the new DC. It's the new Gotham City. That's right. Drop heads, man. They're all drop heads. I'm gonna be a drop head. Allergy relief. So people know it's not. Allergy relief. There you go. Okay, so we'll walk through a couple of these steps, actually. I want people to buy the tokens, so I want people to understand the value. Now, you're talking to a person who's put together high-level intellectual properties for 20 years. We ran through a few of them with Smosh and The Bachelor. And I open with those ones because I like those teams a lot. I think they like me. With ABC and The Bachelor, I had zero issues at all. That was just the standard by the book, so professional. I love that team because, y'all, you'd never know it watching the show, but the crew knows, like, it's just so, there's so many jokes. It's one of the funniest places you could work. And they pay decent. They do pay decent. They could cover lodging. But that's neither here nor there. I had to finagle the lodging, but that's all right. Okay, one more. Oh, I don't want to be itching my eyes on stream. I don't mind doing eye drops on stream, though. Okay. All right. By the way, this is the Top Brass DAO. I'm in the DAO right now, and this is what it's sort of just like a job board kind of thing that's community run, and people can support their own development journeys here by posting tasks and rewarding each other with bounties, and then we as a publisher will post our bounties here as well, and our bounty system is lucrative. So access and governance to the Top Brass DAO. You can see here all of our guilds and everything. I'm not going to get too deep into it. Limited content access, so you'll be able to watch the films that we do. I'll mute that. The films and shows. You know, I'd be particularly interested in watching this is maybe Spike Lee. Spike and Guy Ritchie are like my two biggest filmmaker influences. And then also, strangely, Sofia Coppola. Sofia Coppola is phenomenal. You hear that, Romy? I have a crush on your sister. Filmmaking crush. I'm asexual and morbidly disabled, as the doctors say. So I may not even be in your guys' hair for long, but you're all gonna cannibalize me for sanctimony once I'm gone. Just like you're cannibalizing me for sanctimony while I'm alive. If the cinematography of this doesn't intrigue you, you're crazy. This is a crazy shot to get. No drone, no AI, just a dolly and a fool running around in a circle. Woo! The devil you don't. Ah! That's oh man, that one's good. I like it so much. God. Oh man. Okay, young me. When the subtext is very loud. I don't know if you can see it on stream. Okay, I'm going to close this. We're going to get back to this. So yeah, putting together high-level intellectual property structures for years, and now I'm doing this as a puzzle structure for the community of show business. You do not need to release your puzzle as a membership organization. That was a scam. Okay. Oh, yeah, by the way, when you have these, they act as keys, digital keys. You can log into places with them and nothing else. You don't need accounts if things are programmed correctly. Now, I don't know how to do any of that programming. I've tried to learn over the years. Because I have been cut in half twice, it is an issue for me to sit on my ass and press buttons in the sequence and try to get things right all the time. That's also why I have typos up and down my Twitter, because I post send without ever proofreading on social media, specifically. Social media. Everything else, everywhere else, I try to get it right, but even then, I'm telling you, I'm very aware, being in pain all the time, of the chore of getting keystrokes exactly right. Okay, my eye is just killing me. Not that. Hey, vintage Mozart bat. Oh, in fact, that's a really good note. Anybody else who gets like super itchy eyes as a reaction to pollen will understand my struggles right now. My right eye really wants that eruption. Surrender to the drops. Surrender to the soothing relief of the eye drops as it spreads over your eye and absorbs all the tension, all of that heat. It replaces that heat with a coolness, a distinctive calm, an awareness that your cornea does not need anything at all. Okay, we're back. Ooh, cognitive meditations. I should sell those. Okay. Is that the right webcam? limited content access. We have a number of films. I think there's over 13 films we've released throughout our body of work. And now we're working on Tier 1 and Tier 2 products, although Musical Bears is super lo-fi. Exclusive airdrops and swag. We can talk about that real quick. We've already done our first blockchain airdrop. Everybody with a company ownership token has one of these. We appreciate you, if you're watching this, going into your wallet and unhiding your lore logo. This is an airdrop that we released. It's just our logo, but as a generative collection, as sort of an homage to generative collections. We don't do generative collections, generally speaking. No, he didn't. He did. He said general 5 times in a row. What's the most intriguing one to look at? They're all great to look at. I think I did 727. Whoa. Somebody's yelling outside. Okay, so I think I did 727 variations of 7 logo elements of our primary 2015 lore logo. You can see here there's the storyteller circle with the androgynous figure in the middle, orating a story as our ancestors. This is the first stage, campfire oration, and they're doing it on top of a novel with a bookmark in it, and then the novel itself becomes a projector, because at the end of the day we are cinema crafters. And let's talk about this airdrop. This is actually a really cool one. So here's the lore logo number. This is the I'm doing this in reverse order so people know the hard cap on the supplies, but I'm releasing 727. 727 number was the first one released, and we're counting down to number 1. And this is just going to be a Kaizen practice that I do over decades. And eventually I'll probably have some AI figure out how to help me do it. But until we get there, there we go. Lore logo number 727, 727. Okay. Instructions. Develop an impactful story to tell using the 7 elements of a well-told story, as randomly generated and mapped through a color element to our Let Me Out Productions storytelling logo. We're discussing perk number 5 here of our company ownership token. Everybody who bought a company ownership token has already received a lore logo. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go into your wallet and look for it and make sure it's unhidden, because on airdrop sometimes they get marked as spam. Also, OpenSea caused my wallet a bunch of issues over the years, so that could also have a factor. Further, you may use this specific logo on any Let Me Out Productions official collaborative media output you develop in any of our scalable intellectual property puzzles. So impact puzzles and scalable intellectual property puzzles, same thing. I released this this prompt before we landed on Impact Puzzle because I had written it years ago. It began with it, the concept of it, the first word from the first storyteller. That's a simplified take on the proto-world thesis in cognitive linguistics. Language for or object-phoneme association, rather, object being a thing and phoneme being a sound. So the theory is that in the proto-world days, in the days of the cavemen, in the pre-human days, it was somebody's idea, an invented concept, to point at an object and then associate that object with a noise. And we're not the only animals that do that. But so we call this object-phoneme association. A phoneme is an individual unit of noise, and an object is an object. So the proto-world thesis, again, for all of you young linguists out there that are becoming my followers, come on, nerds. The proto-world thesis is that in the pre-human days, or the proto-human days, it was an invention. Somebody had to have conceptualized looking at an object and forming a noise to identify that object, and then sharing that concept with their neighbor, and then that behavior of associating an object with a noise would then spread. And then obviously that concept would expand. Now one object has this noise, the next object has this noise. So it began with it. My theory is the first object that needed a noise was just it. The loose generic concept of it. I need it. 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 It's literally a grunt. Anyway, it. The first object was it. It's just a loose generic any object. And the first phoneme was it. The noise that we identified any loose object by. You with me? Cognitive linguistics is a trip. Okay, it's the first word from the first storyteller. The first person to conceptualize phoneme to object association would be a storyteller. That would be a form of a story that would be told. It. The simplified take on the proto-world thesis in cognitive linguistics. Language, or object-phoneme association, started as an invention from one single mind, the seed of understanding. It. The first human ancestor to describe anything at all used a sound which we would translate to it. Maybe it was simply a grunt, or a social agreement that it was something we needed to describe. Maybe it gave us a sense of danger. Maybe it was something we needed to eat or drink. Maybe it turned us on. I'm gray asexual out there for all of those who don't think I look like a turtle and are somehow attracted to me. I'm gray asexual, so maybe there's 10 days out of the month where I have a possibility of a werewolf mode, and the rest of the time I don't want y'all smells and juices. Leave me out of it. Unless you're super special, and even then, I got this. I got a heating pad on right now, by the way, everybody. I'm plugged in. I'm plugged in, everybody. Heating pad. All right. Got to survive the morbid disability. It's like getting a worm through a straw, and it sucks. So maybe it gave us a sense of danger. Maybe it was something we needed to eat or drink. Maybe it turned us on. It was a parent, a sibling, a child, perhaps, with some luck, a familiar friend. And Aaron Apodaca, if you watch this in the hospital, you are dear to us. We talk about you and think about you every day in that house. I'm at the cafe, so you like my backdrop? There's a bookshelf. It makes me look learned. Hey, I am learned, but I haven't read any of this garbage. No shade, if there's an author out there to watch, I probably read some of these. My ADHD, this is what ADHD does, y'all, but I try to corral it. The Replacement Wife. That's a wild title. Can we make that into a movie? The Replacement Wife. I have no idea what that's about. But I'm into it. The Replacement Wife? Okay. Exclusive airdrops and swag. This is the first airdrop, so I'm walking you through it. It was a parent, a sibling, a child, perhaps with some luck, a familiar friend. It wasn't enough. It, when met with confusion, was re-emphasized with a different frame of meaning and intensity. It, when met with a quizzical look, it became that! It became that! Our needs grew. The needs grew. So the need to evolve the container of meaning also grew. It became that. New frameworks developed. Sounds evolved to metaphor. How? Pattern interpretation is all theater. This is actually my number one thesis. It's all stamped under the University of Aberdeen in Scotland. Don't plagiarize me. Don't F with me. This is like, anyway. Pattern interpretation is the foundation of what we consider to be sentience. Pattern interpretation times empathy. You are not reading the container when I'm writing, that container of behavior. When I have a container of behavior, I put it in brackets. So reading would be a container of behavior that we all agree on what it is, but we're not actually getting to the root objective behavior of what we're actually doing. So you're not reading what I'm writing. You're interacting with me, what I'm intending to communicate, and whatever glimpses of my internal paradigm that I'm able to paint. By reading this, you are extracting clarity from a series of tiny symbols, runes, actually, that I am placing in a deliberate sequence. So it's actually programming of meaning that I'm intending to deliver to your mind. That's what that is. Sequences of tiny images that are programming the meaning that you're receiving. Now we reduce that to the container of reading, but that's objectively not what's going on. Objectively, we're looking at tiny pictures in a sequence that program the meaning as it's delivered. And when I'm talking to you, I'm doing the exact same thing. However, it's not tiny pictures in a sequence, it's noises. Specific noises organized through a hole in my face to deliver a specific meaning that I'm delivering to you. And yes, there's an ethical requirement to knowing this and teaching it and absorbing it. I don't advertise at all knowing how to advertise. I could sell out anything. I could sell you guys all this really easily in a kish way that would get you to feel all hype about it. But I don't want that. I want the people that are speaking my language at this level to say, yes, this is a dude that we F with, and we want to build this brand with him on the original Impact puzzle. All right, so the assignment of 0.0002% intellectual property ownership of the Light Me Up Productions brand, that's an individual, unique assignment of ownership. Oh, you know what? I didn't get through this. Again, ADHD. Okay. Sounds evolved a metaphor and pattern interpretation of the foundation of what we consider to be sentience. You're extracting clarity from a series of tiny symbols, runes that I am placing in a deliberate sequence. You do that from a desire to understand me. Your interest in my offerings, your choice to read this, your action to do so is what makes this collaborative. And in this case, you're listening to me or watching this. I'm using intention and you're using empathy. Intention and empathy. It's a structure that relies on these patterns of symbols to work. You are doing what you do constantly, extracting clarity from observing patterns. This function is what has sustained our existence as humans for however long it's been since the first ancestor took a breath. We are a hive mind because of this constant agreement. I hope we share in the wonder of this marvelous symbiosis. So then each one has a color key that has 7 elements of a well-told story. This is a sort of indigenous presentation of how many indigenous nations tell stories in America. I'm Kaw Nation, part Kaw Nation, for what it's worth. And we like to kind of not do the standard format hero's tale. I feel like the way that storytelling, especially in cinema, is presented, the rises and the falls of the roller coaster happen in the same time frame because we're used to a certain emotional experience when we go to the film. The story doesn't necessarily need that structure. I do get the pacing, I do get the beats. But there's opportunity now, after 100 years of crafting cinema the same way, to mix it up a little bit, change the formats. The 7 elements of a well-told story. In fact, there's a 7x7 fulcrum that we use. I hope you watch this. For money! I'm not going to say your real name, but I hope you watch this. Okay. Actually, this is good for the lore logo, because you can take this and plug it right in. Antagonist energy, fulcrum of plot resolution, a primary setting, fulcrum of conflict. The narrative voice, theme of focus, and protagonist energies. These are the 7 elements of a well-told story, and these are the 7 fulcrums of a well-told story. The hook, the turn, the pinch, the punch, the squeeze, the fall, and the resolution. That's borrowed from, oh gosh, I forget his name. We changed a few things here. What is his name? What is his name? What is his name? He has the seven, Anyway, you can take this structure and apply it to any other storytelling structure that you know. What you're doing is you're adding in a series of diverse story points that will help your A, B, C, D, C, E, and F plots have cohesion. and have purpose that all build towards that satisfying, meaty customer experience at the end. So if you go in with the plan to build that meaty experience, you'll always get there as a writer. And these are all elements of cement that are meant to help you guys. So the generative colors will produce the elements. So here we have the fulcrum of resolution is dollar bill, which is a human trait. The primary setting is dark chestnut, which is a flora trait. So who knows what that means? Like, I mean, I immediately picture like an old school den, you know, like a primary setting, like a dark chestnut. Okay, I'm thinking desk. I'm thinking old. I'm thinking like books on the wall, furniture that you can't get out of the house. Shit. Okay, the fulcrum of conflict is sawgrass green. That's another flora trait. Sawgrass is just really long, annoying swamp grass in Florida. But it's also the name of a fictional basketball team in the show Press Pass. So the fulcrum of conflict could be something with swamp grass, something swamp related, something Florida related. Projector lens, which is the narrative voice, or the lens of observation. We have the mysterious trait, rodeo disco ball. So that's fun. A mysterious lens of observation. We don't quite know what the observing lens, where it's coming from. If it's a character observation, or if it's a omnipotent observation, or maybe a directed observation, maybe an object observation. Theme of focus is Rosevale, another flora. This is not a rare piece. Flora is the most common trait. I think it's a 17% rarity, which is the most, that's the highest percentage. And then the protagonist is Oxford Blue. So you have a human protagonist. Oh, we have a mineral antagonist, Vegas Gold. Oh, that's fun. Okay. Clearly money is the theme of this story in my mind. So the antagonist is Vegas Gold. I already think of this guy as a playboy, like top dollar. Fulcrum of plot is the dollar bill, so that's the primary setting is the boardroom. Fulcrum of conflict is sawgrass green, so maybe some sort of purchase of land that people think is swampland, that people think is useless, to turn into to develop and turn into something else. The lens of observation is mysterious. We don't know what the lens of observation is quite yet. I'm thinking a frog in the swamp. That'd be really fun. The storyteller, the theme of focus is Rosevale, beauty and beauty overcomes, that kind of thing. Protagonist description is Oxford Blue, human trait. So like Oxford Blue, I'm thinking like a liberal, like a British lawyer trying to fight off like a Vegas Playboy expansion. And like a talking frog shows up. It's like otherwise it's a completely benign, boring business drama, but a fucking talking frog is in the Yes. I love it. See? We're cooking with gas already. That's off the airdrop. All right, so you get a free impact puzzle right there. I don't know. That's the world, though. All of a sudden, like, it's like a legal drama, and now there's, like, talking animals that are involved in the case that are trying to sway one way or the other. I don't know. That could be fun. Anyway, so that's an example of an airdrop. And we at a certain point, you guys give us enough money, I'm gonna send some of these out. Some of these exclusive limited print Crypto Bear merchandise. Yeah, we'll do some raffles. It can't be everybody that gets them, but we'll do some like random draws and stuff. And if you're in an area that we can ship to, we will ship you physical things. That'll be fun. Share the success that way as well. Speaking of, we do have an official merchandise collaboration, so when you have a piece of the brand, and let's say you do want to do a print of merchandise from our store with this on it, you can do that. You can do a derivative art collection using these colors, and maybe do a release of 10 pieces of art with 1,000 editions from the Let Me Out Productions official art derivative collection from the company ownership tokens from the brand. And that could be a fun way to expand on what this is. You know, just think outside the box, but develop that permanent result to work for you. You want to put 100,000 editions of a collectible in our store, just from sitting there doing 10 pieces of art off this. Use a little bit of that navy, put some Starscape in there. You know, I don't know what is this. Where does this take you? Because there's a lot going on here, but where does this take you? Let it take you somewhere, and then go there, and then maximize it. Number 8 is the right to identify our affiliate as part owner, member of Top Brass. Like, literally put it on your LinkedIn, put it on your resume. You can literally link to the title on the blockchain and be like, this is my, like, I'm 10 toes down on business here. This isn't like a clout claim. I literally have the title to the brand that I have developed into these results. And this is a resume chip. This is actually like earned professional detail of intellectual property development that you can put on your resume and maximize for yourself that way. So we want to make sure that people highlight that, and we want to make sure that the language is very particular. You can say part owner of Let Me Out Productions because that's objectively true, objectively the truth. You can also say member of Top Brass. I'm part of the Top Brass that runs Let Me Out Productions, which is dope as hell. That's also objectively true because the brand of the third-party audience experience guarantor is the Top Brass DAO. Let Me Out Productions in the Top Brass DAO. Hey, 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 hey. Ah! We're at the forefront of this shit. We're so censored. Woo! Aaron would kill me if I betrayed all of my principles and said, America first! It's not even tempting. I feel like I'm over here, my buddy and Ethan and I, we're over there just like thinking these people are so incompetent. We suffer from the same thing where it's like when stupidity is happening, we don't need to be near it. And I love him so much for it. He's great. All right. Right to identify as part owner of the brand. That's what you get. And you can put on your resume and you can develop that outwardly as a part of your personal brand. Now, if you go out and about and you're going to be like an Andrew Tate or a Harvey Weinstein or something like that with that claim, we have every right to tell you to stop doing it. Like if you're going to go out and behave in a nasty, disparaging way that comes back and hurts the rest of us and what we're doing, the central publisher will reach out to you and say, hey, this is what's going on. This is the behavior that's not aligned with our values. This isn't a matter of free speech. This is why, like, we're objectively saying that this behavior is damaging to us. And if you could not publicly affiliate with our brand, that would be the ideal outcome. And and it's in the deed, our right to state that, enforce it, and seek full enforcement of that. I can't imagine too many cases where that will be the case. It would have to be if you're scamming people and you're using our brand and you might have a title, but if you're using it in a way that's defrauding other people, no shot. If you are using it in a way as a power play to get an advantage over people that may not understand the industry of intellectual property development, I'm not comfortable with that either. This is I'm a each one teach one type person. I'm not a person that enjoys anybody seeking leverage over each other and manipulating leverage. We're collaborators here at Let Me Out Productions. It's all right here. None of these folks are seeking leverage over the story. They're all respecting the story as it's being told. And the storyteller is enthusiastic. They're having a good time. And when it's their time to sit down, the next person will get up and tell their story. Also, not AI. I did this logo myself. way long ago, 2015. Anyway, now playable. This one's great. Johanna, if you watch this, can't wait to develop this with you. Speaking of, that's number 9. Story World Seed for IP Puzzle Development. So Impact Puzzle Development, everyone has its own name. And the name is also meant to inspire you. So think of now playable. Look at the art here. Look at the colors. Okay. Channel this person here. Right in the center. And look at the traits down here. Background, end times. Logos, acid bath. Trait is right brain. I guess that's that I put one trait on there. Right brain, acid bath, and end times. Right brain, acid bath, end times, now playable. I already know what we're working on for the developer of this because we're knee deep into a franchise based on now. It'll be titled Now Playable, and I'm not going to say shit else about it. I'm so excited for it though. It's a really smart idea, and it's right at their intersection. So I can't wait to maximize that. Yeah, so each one of these develops into a story world. So here's number 321. Their legacy piece is Fibble Boots. Fibble Boots. It's a silly character, probably, right? Like a cartoon animal that has some kind of powerful shoes, some kind of powerful rain boots, like rubber boots. Look, it says this token evolved from number 92, now playable. It's right there in the metadata. Ah, it's so dope. Where does that link to? Right there on the Ethereum. Oof. To the transaction too. Links to the transaction because it preserves the original artist-publisher relationship in the metadata. Because the artist might move, they might sell this on. See? Now, they release Now Playable, and it sells out. They're going to make a lot more money than $104 that they spent on the piece of the brand to develop. And our current, they liked they liked that one the most. The current floor is 0.072, so it's actually a little bit cheaper. Did ETH take a hit today? No? Okay. But yeah, when this one sells, and it will, this is a phenomenal piece. I love looking at this piece because I didn't make it, so it's awesome. I'm loving like the touch of decay up here on the logo. I'm loving how our red was swapped out with like this like hot magenta pink, but the black and the silver stayed the same. I'm loving the background. The background is so unique and fire. There's like 8 different types of polka dots. Like a paint spill, and then like this interesting choice of just putting the white swipe, the white swatch swipe right over the top. I believe she made this in Procreate, if I have that right, and she did a phenomenal job. Just a custom piece of art in Procreate. So the background's Liquid Dream. The logo is Affected. Logo is Riot Girl. Oh! Me and the artist go way, way, way back. Flavorful, Paintcraft, and Pleasure to Meet You. If Fibble Boots isn't like a painting squirrel that wears rain boots because he paints with way too much paint and spills it all the time, I'm so mad at whoever buys this and doesn't develop that. Because it's instantly what? Fibble Boots. Maybe not a squirrel, maybe it's a weasel. Weasels don't get enough love. They're adorable, they're long, they're weird, but they seem like they're big rats, right? So people kind of hate on weasels. All right, collection benchmark achievements. Let's do that then. We like to encourage commitment to the puzzle development. So with people that buy more than one piece and have, here it is. It's linked directly to the thing. Oh. Sweet. So we have collection benchmark achievements. The Voyage of Legacy. It's the logo for it. 500,000 NFTs have been assigned 0.0002% ownership over Let Me Out Productions LLC and the deed of partnership. 16%, 80,000 are being slowly released for dedicated audience members to collect. Holders of a company ownership token are able to pitch their projects to Let Me Out Productions for as long as they hold at least one company ownership token. So we have benchmarks that you reach. So if you have one, this is the system that applies to you. You got a 35% vote, 35% bounty. You have 7. Your bounty and your vote climbs, and then so on and so forth. So in lieu of traditional investment, we want actual property developers. So somebody who commits to develop, what is this, 4% of our brand? That's what 20,000 pieces would be. Oh, I mean, like, you know, they're literally a part of our board of regents now. But they're developing the brand. It's property that they own. They're showing up with a shovel and a toolkit, and they develop it. It's not a passive position that they are looking for us to do anything for them to sell at a markup. If they show up with a toolkit and their shovel and their seeds, and they plant some crops and they grow an incredible harvest, and they harvest time and time and time and time again, and they get to a point where they no longer want to harvest with that 4% chunk, and they decide to sell it. And they sell all 20,000 pieces individually. And they sell each piece for far more than they originally bought them for. I think that's the free market speaking for itself, and I think that's the free market reflecting the sweat effort that they put into their 4% of the puzzle. We don't want people buying these pieces to wait or think that they're going to earn a passive yield from what the brand is doing. That's what people have been gambling on with non-fungible tokens over the years, and I just think that's really silly. So this is all in the DAO. Even if you go there as a visitor without any tokens, you can see this this guide, and we have the collection benchmark achievements in the brand and in our show press pass. Custody insurance, we've seen a lot of people get scammed. Basically, you have a wallet that's either a browser extension or a phone app, and you can get an email or maybe like a link that'll take you to a website. And sometimes these websites will ask you to sign a transaction. Make sure you read everything and make sure you know where you're at. Never sign a transaction you don't intend to sign. Like when you buy a company ownership token, that's a transaction you're intending to sign. You're going to go to OpenSea, you're going to sign a transaction to approve your wallet for the store, you're going to sign another transaction to approve the send of Ethereum from your wallet to our wallet, and the send from our wallet, and the send of the token from our wallet to your wallet. It's actually just a custody assignment switch. You sign that, and then I think there might even be one more little signature that's like one more dummy check. And then the transfer happens, it's notarized, and everybody moves on with their lives. Now, when you go to the DAO, it'll ask you, do you have the key to access this space? And you say yes, and you go and you verify your property on the Discord. It'll say yes, they do have the key, and now you have access to the DAO. Once you're in, you're in. And you can develop every single one of these tiers without any input from me or anybody at Let Me Out Productions. It'll all be very analog right now. It's not a very advanced digital experience at all. We're not here for it. We're a publisher. We're teaching people to publish. If you guys really want a fancy digital Web3 native experience for that, I totally understand. Encourage an asset manager to build that as infrastructure. That a publisher like us can then come in and work with an asset manager that is there to actually help us guarantee these relationships against this puzzle. That's the appropriate market relationship, in my opinion. I don't think the publisher runs the software. I think the experience software is an asset manager software, especially in the realm of AI. I'm trying to carve out a little piece of the pie for y'all. You know, you guys are the only ones that actually view me as a market builder in the ways that I am, objectively. So thank you. Please send a lot more money. You guys knew how hard it this today in this day and age? I'll tell you what, you could send 50 grand today. I still don't know that would move mountains for us. You know what I mean? I think it would move mountains for myself and my co-founders in terms of sustainability and just like dignity. But anyway, let's actually put that in the chat too. I have my intestine scan, and you guys can see on your, well, it's my right side and it'll be your right that you're looking at. This is what a morbid disability looks like. This is what I'm surviving. And everything is misshapen. I was born on crack in 1989. Just the harsh truth, cut and dry. I have the physical malformation of my intestines did not grow correctly when I was in the womb because my birth mom kept doing crack when I was in her womb. And then I also have slight brain chemistry things where my dopamine and serotonin receptors are more so kind of forced open because my brain developed in the womb while my mom was doing crack, and crack forces your serotonin and dopamine receptors open. So mine are sort of forced open, which means that my serotonin and dopamine levels aren't as effective as a lot of folks, which helps me with focus in some ways. And then in other ways, it really, really hurts me because I can be really impatient. Don't say it, Kamani. Don't say it. No, it's such a good pun, though. Okay, it's not a kink, but I come off rude. Yeah, stop it. Oh, he's a CEO, but he bum off food. Oh, yeah, the kink, but he come off rude. True. Okay. Custody insurance, personal agency deed enforcement. This is another little ditty. This is so great. The market is actually catching up to me. Like all the language too. The language is so. I'm so like what? Who knew? So now in AI, when you're building an expression, they call that building an agent. That's called like an expression of AI would be an agent that serves a purpose, and all of our individual selves could be such an agent and will be because people are going to do that. They're going to take elements of your agency and create an agent whether or not you know it's you. And it could be your voice, it could be your likeness, it could be your social media performance, it could be your art, it could be your language. There's all sorts of output that you're creating in the world that is actively, and I hate to, I mean, this is the only way to put it, it's being enslaved for regurgitate. And so this is the only way to protect ourselves with a hardcore notarized legal document that says this is what will happen if I catch you enslaving me in any way for any sort of regurgitate, including membership. Yeah. God, you've read this. Yeah. Oh. Okay, I'll put this in chat too. The license thing with the other group, that don't matter. I like them. I've actually grown to like them a lot. I think they have some chutzpah. They got some charm. They do got to pay me nice and fat before I work with them at all, and I'm not doing anything on their chain. But that's all right. Actually, we might, because now Movement has their issues, because I was going to do something on Movement. Mark and Ben, if you watch this, hit me, because there's now an opportunity. I'm not going to do anything with Movement with that thing going on with Rishi. That's crazy. The way I've experienced fraud in this community, in this space, when I sniff it, I get out. Oh, I'm for the hills immediately. So just know that about me, everybody. If you're not telling the truth, if you're not representing yourself accurately, if you're hinting at something sideways at all, I'm not working with you. I'm gone. I don't have time. Okay, this is like working a worm through a straw every day. It's not the right caterpillar through a straw. Okay. No, that's not even, because the caterpillar would move and it would actually help. somebody here? I might have to abruptly end the stream because I have a meeting. Okay, personal agency deed. I encourage you guys to read this deed here. It's a great deed. If you're gonna sit there and copy it word for word off this video, God bless you. Just buy this though. It's $50. Buy it. You get you literally get the document, and then you can change out my name and details. I'm trying to get some money for my team. So I wrote a deed to my personal agency as Kamana Yokira. My physical, actually let's cover the tenets of this. My physical voice, my cognitive voice, and my personal agent, my physical and cognitive likeness. Okay, so that defines my totality of personal agency. My physical voice, my cognitive voice. My physical voice is the physical noise I produce from my vocal flaps in my esophagus, as well as any other meaning I'm able to physically deliver with sound or contact with a person or item. Also my physical voice. Additionally, any audio creation that involves the unique tonal qualities, pitch, rhythm, and inflections of Mr. Okira's physical voice is considered KOPV. All such material or meaning delivered in such a way created by myself is contextualized as KOPV and protected by this personal agency deed as my intellectual property. Okay. It's also a puzzle. This deed also forms a puzzle of 100,000 pieces, and the pieces are the deed themselves. So you just buy one, enjoy developing that template into your own deed, and congratulations, you've developed the impact of that impact puzzle. And then you also have actually specific rights to use my voice in AI replications. It's all in here. So you have to use it in a way that delivers positive messaging to the community. So while I might say negative things from time to time, or a lot of the time, depending on who you are, anybody who has this deed can go use me as a voice bot. They can go sample me and use me as a voice bot, but their voice bot can only say positive things. You can't use it to insult people. I'm going to be like, hey, you deserve to exist. Hey, I love you. It's going to be great. So we can really build my 100,000 editions of "You are beaten. It is useless to resist. Don't let yourself be destroyed," as Obi-Wan did. It's there. It's there, but it's not all the way there. Flynn is closer. He's my cousin. He's James' direct son. I am his cousin Barbara's grandson. And I'm blessed to be Barbara's grandson. I love Barbara so dearly. May she rest in power. She means the world to me. I wouldn't have it any other way. Okay. So you have personal agency deed enforcement. We also take impact puzzles for launchpads and official platform support. So if you want Let Me Out Productions to be the publisher of your impact puzzle, we're hosting the pieces and we're facilitating the supply. It's coming from the Let Me Out Productions account. We're running the market for that publication. We'll take 35% ownership of that publication or that production. That's the standard workflow. 30% to you as a creator, 20% to your labor team, 10% is available as a audience purchase off the shelf to develop, and then 5% to property relevant unions. And if you're in a place in the world where you don't have unions to facilitate, we will make one. We will basically, it's just a behavior. It's not necessarily the institution, the bureaucracy, and the paperwork and red tape. It is more so a behavior of respecting the compound value that the labor is installing into your property. So we also have rights. We also have specific marks of trade. Vader blood puzzle, impact puzzle, all the things that you need to market the impact puzzle effectively, we share as a brand. So if you have a brand piece, you just inherently share. You don't have to worry about any of that. Puzzle, I get a little nervous about saying Lego style piece because we debated for years as to whether or not to say that. They don't look like Legos, but you know, the whole point of having a unique building block that's yours, titled as your property, that is contributing to the permanent result of something much bigger. That's the whole point of that metaphor. And I'm really happy that Story landed on the same metaphor. Rights to specific marks of trade. So you grab this, now you inherently share all the specific marks of trade, including use of Let Me Out Productions in very specific ways. Like if we're not the main producer on your work, don't advertise this as that. We don't want the credit, and you shouldn't want us to have the credit. That'd be a weird thing to do. But there are people out there who do weird stuff like that. So don't do that. If you pitch to our community and we vote for your project at our twice-a-year symposium, and then you receive a launch pad and agree on our structure, then we'll publish for you. And then that's that. And then when you're developing your piece with the platform support, you have full non-disclosure agreement. So that non-playable piece that we were looking at earlier, they are developing this piece with platform support, so I'm not actually going to talk about any of their story elements or anything, or any of what their plan is for the piece and what their world is. All I can say is it's really great, and I want to encourage them to keep thinking about it. So that's your 15-point impact tree. Every piece of this tree is developed, meaning that you as a customer purchase the parcel, there's something that you do that now develops this into a result. So number one, you're developing your own impact puzzle, your own one of these. Number two, you're making a new piece for our supply. Number three, you're governing the entire experience for you and everybody else who is developing the brand that way, and you own the sub-brand that does that. There's a third-party guarantor, so you own that. That brand's not a media publisher. It is a rights enforcer for our media publisher. I want to be very clear on that. So they're not publishing media separately. It's always Let Me Out Productions in the top brass down. Hey. Yeah. That might, I don't know. We'll see. But, you know, we just don't want Press Pass, the spin-off presented by Top Brass Dow without any approval from... without any oversight, approval, or continuity or anything. That'd be crazy. Limited content access, so you get a key. You own the property. The property plugs you into any distributor interface that allows you access to our content via Token Gate. And right now there's only one that does that, and that's beam.xyz. Shout out to Mihai, a really stand-up guy, and one of the people who I felt was defrauded the most. What? Okay, we're good. Oh yeah, see, it's already plugged me in because I'm connected through blockchain, so I don't need to do anything. I just can go in and watch the video. Boom. Oh, wild! That's crazy! Y'all see this? On stream, it just shows up as black. I've never seen this before in my life. That's crazy. Hi, what? That's awesome, dude. Y'all can't see the video because it's DRM protected from streaming. Whoa. That's awesome. What? That's the first time I've experienced that. Cool.
Okay, well, that sells your product right there. There you go, everybody. Beam.xyz. You can upload it, have DRM protected content, and have it token gated by a non-fungible token. So you can sell digital tickets to your content online. Nobody can even stream. Even if they have the ticket, they can't stream it. I'm the owner of the damn film. I can't stream it on to you guys. That's awesome. I could go to Vimeo and stream it there, but I'm not going to. Wonderful. That was a cool experience. Okay. So yeah, limited content access. When you have content access, you can develop permanent results by just enjoying the content. Now that's something that you watch, but and enjoy. But beyond that, you'll be the only audience that can critique some of this stuff, can leave public comment, can go represent your experience as an audience member publicly. So that's another way you can develop that permanent brand benefit for Let Me Out Productions that's coming from you specifically, across from your specific ownership. Airdrops and swag, we went over it for lore logos, and we'll do stuff like that all the time. Little puzzles, little pieces of art. Sometimes we'll do raffles for physical merchandise and really cool things like NBA photos, because I have a 10-year NBA archive. Don't know why I didn't mention that yet. Okay. Does that make sense, everybody? So how much is the cheapest piece here? Okay, listed. It's number 72. Muted C. All right. $132. Plus a little bit of navigation of the notary. So I always tell people, like, if you're going to buy the Ethereum, buy at least $140 of Ethereum so you have enough room to make the transaction, navigate any fees from so to always just mark up $5 to $10 over what you need to buy something on the on Ethereum specifically. On every other currency, you can just pretty much buy the exact amount that you need. Also, this interface does take the card. It'll take your card directly. So you don't need to buy crypto. You just need to have the wallet. And then let's look at the document that I already did for Muted C. Here we go. I put together a little pitch for a 2,500 piece impact puzzle across from Muted C. Where is it? This guy here. Okay. And Muted C sounded like Mu Dang Sing. And we do a project called Musical Bears. Let's get rid of my morbid disability and go to musicalbears.fandom.com.
All the things that we can do, freeing crypto bears from the Ethereum zoo. They wanna be with you. All the things that we can be, putting crypto bears on merchandising. Join me and sing. Collect a puzzle piece and free a bear. Get them out of the zoo, back to their lairs. Time to free a bear. Time to free a bear. Time to free a bear. Bear! This kind of lines up with the face almost dead on. That's interesting. Hey, proof I have a hairline. Let's get rid of that. Don't want to make all the other 30-year-old men out here jealous. 36 this year in September. 35 still right now. Okay. Okay.
So, Impact Puzzle, 5,777 pieces. We sing a song on each piece. We design a merch line with each piece, and we make a new bear for the puzzle. Same thing, co-published supply that we do in the brand, we do for musical bears. So you sing a 17-second to 1 minute song, and that adds to the co-publication. You curate, design, and price 8 pieces of merchandise for our store, and we're going to do 1,000 units of each piece as a limited print, and you'll receive 50% net profit per unit from each unit sold. On average, folks are putting up 8,000 pieces, and the average position is $7.50 per unit, which is about over $50,000 of potential earnings from their merchandise. And it's earnings because they're designing the merchandise. It wouldn't exist without their design work. It wouldn't exist without their picking of which options that we're going to offer, and it wouldn't exist without their pricing. So for that effort, they get a 50% product net profit per unit. So do the same thing. We want to see social media musicals like this pop off. This is easy to do. This little Kish, these are shorts that we're all collaborating on that are networked into a wider result that people are going to go crazy over. And then it's no big deal, right? So we're just going to network the shorts, and we're going to so here you go. Let's do an impact puzzle for Mood Dang Sing. Let's get number 72 sold. You buy that piece. I have this priced on Ape Chain right now. So it would be $2 for the first 500 pieces. So you're gonna do the first 5. Let's look at Mood Dang. Isn't that cute? Okay, so I did a little Baby Hippo AI thing, and I did a 3D character AI generator for Mood Dang, and I color toned it with the color tones of the company ownership token that I'm pitching you guys right now, that kind of muddy orange, and it's adorable. Like, objectively, that's adorable. So Mood Dang Sing, a social media impact musical. It's also a content format I think I've invented. I don't know. I don't really think it's that different from like Bob's Burgers Season 8 Episode 1 or the Ultimate Showdown collaboration that they did, the reanimation of that. So it's like we're just doing these sorts of collaborations that we've always done, but now titling the contribution as property of the contributors to anchor the compound value of their result. Does that make sense? It's called the Impact Puzzle. So here we're going to do a 2,500 piece Impact Puzzle. And let's just pretend I do 500 of these Mood Dangs in different colorways. Same exact image, but different colorways, different traits, etc. And I do 500. I publish the first 500. I charge $2 per piece. Okay? So $2 per piece. My publisher position is $1,000. So if that sells out, now the next person is going to make their own Mood Dang. They're going to get the same template, black and white, and they're going to do a digital version, or they're going to do a printed version. We're going to sell theirs for $200. Okay, so theirs going to be sold for $200 out of the puzzle. Oh, I'm sorry, they're going to go for $100. It says for $100 out of the puzzle, and we're going to split this unit per unit 50-50 with the developer. So you're going to buy a parcel for $2. We're going to develop it into a parcel we're going to sell for $100, and if it does sell, you keep $50. So I guess I call this the development metric because it requires your effort, but your challenge is to turn your $2 purchase into a $50 return just from adding to the supply, by adding a new piece that somebody says, yes, I'll buy that for $100. Now, the publisher would keep $50. So the publisher keeps $50 and the customer keeps $50. We're sharing the brand strength of the publication. So now you've sold 1,000 pieces of the puzzle. The publisher's now made $26,000. It's also a $25,000 shared position for 500 customers. And and each customer is getting $50 per unit. Okay, so now they're going to release their new Moodang, and those ones will sell for $1,000. These are a fixed tier. This is a fixed tier, so there's no scheming. There's nothing that's trying to game the market. This is what it is from the start. Says so in the deed. Okay, this doesn't change. Fixed tier. So it may get to a point where the publisher can't release more pieces because nobody's buying $1,000 pieces. That's fine. That's the free market saying, nah, we're not going to do that. That's okay. We're early enough to where I think anybody launching an impact puzzle in like the first 1,000 or so of the accurately launched impact puzzles is going to go crazy. So customer buys a unit for 1,000. Now this has an interesting mechanic. Okay. So the Mud Legacy was the first round. The Mud Legacy per unit okay, yes. So the Mud the person who's releasing the token, they're still getting 50% unit. So if that sells for 1,000, they're going to receive $500. The original person, the original like the first cycle of the legacy, is actually going to get $100 from the publisher, and the publisher would retain $400. And now, on this cycle, the publisher's position is $200,000. The OG customers are sharing $50,000. The $100 per unit sold off their legacy, and then the new customers are sharing $500, and then this grows again to the next tier. And you can see that this release strategy, you never know. I don't know if you'd find 500 customers on the market, each willing to pay $10,000 for a Moodang in a Moodang musical. But now we're not talking individuals, guys. We're talking brands. If you have 2,000 people singing songs in a musical, this is a cheap entry point for a brand. A fast food company that wants to add their brand into the musical. They don't even get to make a new Moodang. That's now capped. That's capped at the Splash Legacy. They're just adding their song, and they're going to pay $10,000 to add their song to the musical. I've done this a long time. I don't think this would be 2,000 individuals. You're probably talking maybe 1,000 individuals on average. You can have a few people with more than one bear or more than one Moodang going crazy. Especially at $2, right? You have some people that have like 15, 20 of them. Yeah. And everybody's growing from this together. So you can see that the publisher is just simply putting a 500 piece supply out, and they're capping it at 2,500. And they've now positioned themselves for $1,800,000. That's the position from publishing this puzzle, exactly as I've laid it out. Should I charge an agent rate, okay, of $1.8 million for this piece, which would be 10 to 35%? Would it be appropriate for me to charge $180,000 for this piece, knowing I've structured high-level Tier 1 assets in the entertainment craft for a long time, and knowing that this position, if it goes well, is a $1.8 million position? Would I be justified in charging $180,000, 10% agent rate? Would I be justified in charging be damn near $600,000 at 35%? They're over $600,000. Would I be justified in charging 35% of that position, of that structure position? That's a structure position. This is hard math. This isn't hard to see it being accomplished. $2 entry, The challenge is to turn $2 into $100. Okay. Well, now the challenge is to turn $100 into $1,000. Okay. Well, now the challenge is to turn $1,000 into $4,000. And it's already going well for the previous developers. Okay. Now the challenge is to turn $4,000 into $10,000. And now brands are buying the last 500 units. And now we have a very interesting corporate cascade at the end of the puzzle with a bunch of like really neat little Moo-Dang like Baby Hippo songs from all these different brands that are coming together to complete the puzzle. And you look at the shared profit down the line, right? The OG units, if this thing sells out, the original person, if you buy a bear and make a bear, your $2 turns into $1,500. Oh, sorry, not a bear. It's a Moo-Dang. Buy a hippo, make a hippo. At $2, you're turning your $2 into a $1,500 position. This is hard math. This is what I do. Okay. Here we're looking at $100 into a $1,900 position. Here we're looking at $1,000 into a $3,000 position. And you already missed the boat if you're getting in this late. So you better hope. You know what I'm saying? Like you missed the boat. So that's sort of the like the clout tax, we'll call it. And then the last customer is turning a $4,000. What is that? $4,000 purchase into a $5,000 position. Again, very, very low return as the clout tax. But watch. Behavioral science here, watch. Watch that work out. Unless there's some sort of regulation against this sort of property release for developing intellectual property. The regulation isn't against this release style. It's against changing this after it's announced and promoted this way. You feel me? So once this is announced and promoted this way, it has to execute. Now, because the pricing is tied to a cryptocurrency rather than the US dollar, this does fluctuate. This should be $5 a piece, but whatever. So again, buy this, launch. This is available right now. I've been pitching this for months, and nobody's purchased this. Buy this and develop this. $130 challenge into one. It's exactly the same thing. Okay, you're buying a piece of property, and you're going through a set of rights, processes, and results to produce a position on the market. Here, I'm giving you the blueprint. This is a super abstract result because you can take this and go build whatever the hell you want out of it. It doesn't even have to have anything to do with the name Muted C. I'm just demonstrating like that perk number 9. Every one of these has a title built in, so you don't have to think very hard. So here you go. This is a great example of it. Muted. You don't have to. You know what I mean? Moo-Dang sing, and now we're doing a musical on baby hippos, and it's right there. You could go do this right now. And I know Dangs on Ape, I know your art is too developed for, I think, for you guys to have pitched, stolen my pitch to that one Ape Space episode. I think it was just a coinky dink, but I still announced it a month before you guys launched. Stuff keeps happening. All right, so Moo-Dang Sing. Write up a deed that establishes what the hell this project is. And I have cute little names on all the legacy releases of the pieces. Okay, and then you publish on the blockchain, and use the blockchain to enforce these relationships. And you're good to go. We're not establishing a foundation, a regulatory body, a committee, or anything like that. We are objectively the origin of looking at intellectual property containers like this in film and digital media. I would say the first container that I witnessed like this was the CryptoPunks, which is why our crypto bears are named as such and they look the way they do. It's an homage to the first container that I experienced like this. I know there was a couple of them before, like the curio cards and everything like that. The crypto bears look like they're supposed to invoke CryptoPunks in some way. Like the punks and the bears could live in the same world. And if Yuga is down to share that lore, we can do that. But anyway, we're doing 5,777 co-published supply of musical bears, and we have a fandom and everything. So go here, check it out. And if you're looking for our stack, this is the enforcement stack right now. It's fandom. It's day one MySpace, baby. We're all getting a page, and we're managing our direct property through that page. And you know what's great about fandom? You know what's great about the Wikimedia environment? Ooh, that thing where it sings songs with Solidity. So you could have Wiki provide state updates to a Solidity, to like a JSON on the blockchain. And then the contract would re-verify those state updates. And then, anyway, I'm not going to get too deep into it. I don't want to give away my sauce here, but that's a real fun one. Oh, Mad Lawn Bear, I love you. This is the first legacy bear in our puzzle, the first hand-drawn bear that was submitted by a customer. And I wrote the poem, because they didn't submit. You can write a poem if you want, but I wrote the poem. Also, I'll just be clear, I was the first legacy bear. I bought a bear of my own. I am the main artist anyway, but this is my first hand-drawn one that I printed out a piece of paper, got some markers and crayons out, and went to town. And I thought he looked like he was a lawn, and he was mad. So then I wrote a poem. It's like a certain Italian style of poem where it's like this, like these kind of like repeating threes kind of thing. I forgot what it's called, like a I want to say tenura, but that just means like cute, tender. Mad Lawn Bear. Beneath the sun I sprawled, a bear of green. A living lawn with fur of grass, so sharp, so soft, so bright. My anger bristled at what we cannot bear. Unseen, unseen. I'ma let me out, Crypto Bear, full of dandelions, hate, and spite. My clover claws and daisy teeth gnash in the ceaseless stinking wind as humans pave the earth all day and night. The clouds gripped fierce by gloomy fumes. I choked. My fields around lay dry, my golden lies. My once cool shade now beaked... Oh, I messed up. My once cool shade now baked beneath a heavy glow. Your greed, I growled, has doomed this world I know. My leafy fur turned brown, my roots grew weak. My savage roar erupted from below. Restore my streams, my meadows, every creek, I cried as weeds and worms whispered tangled ire. The ground soiled itself, for deep underneath crawled all the creeps. Nature's wrath, we've often shared empire, and now I must demand a chance to breathe. In my Mad Lawn Bear's heart burns one last fire, and now I must demand a chance to breathe. And now I must demand a chance to breathe. This bear spawned from the legacy of number 29, Curtains, a real bear. I'm Curtains, a real bear. Some parts are placed to be fair. When the cadmium canines attack, they'd best come in packs. The cubs are loose, the cubs are juiced. We paw and claw and jaw and maw in awe. I'm absolutely certain that's my real hair. Let's play that bad boy. I want to listen to it.
I'm Curtains, a real bear, and I'm certain that's my real hair. When the cadmium canines attack, they'd best come in packs. The cubs are loose, the cubs are juiced. With claws and paws we maw and aw. I'm absolutely certain that's my real hair. Remember me as I rip apart our enemies I'll rip apart. We're cyborg bears and we need new parts. Those robot dogs aren't even real. They weren't made to last, so is my hair real? Are the cubs lying to me? Did they replace my hair? I'm dying, see. A cadmium K9 bit. My armpit, my armpit, my armpit, my armpit. It bit me in my armpit. Everybody knows that's my weakness. Curtains here, I'm a real bear. Some parts replaced to be fair, but certainly not my real hair. I'm certain that's my real hair. I'm dying, and my last wish is to welcome in that bear Brad Pitt. It seems he'll be in anything, so grab a puzzle bear and sing. I'm on my way to Paula. Bear Brad Pitt, did they replace my hair? I'm dying, I'm dead. Oh wait, it's just gas.
Y'all ain't shit but faint blips, debris to bounce right off my spaceship. Goal to stay nameless and famous, just trying to animate the paint drips. But about to be your favorite, Banjo Boy ball so hard he Naismith. Deploy radar and trace him, nobody need him in the system. Engine spitting out the flames, quick! Let's go warp speed, let's ditch him. The industry's a freight ship, I'm a smuggler on a mission. Y'all big guns are aimless, y'all can never focus my position. It's just my navigation, operates with such precision. Y'all radar can stay lit, stay concerned about collisions. Radar sweeping all over the stars. I hope you find what you're looking for. Illumination creating the dark. You'll only see what it's searching for. We all just really ain't shit, make the ancients all go ape shit. We welcome our enslavement every time we go to pay rent. Every mind needs entertainment. They tell us we ain't adjacent, light them up for exploitation, disguised decay with fragrance. New brief for the mission, gotta fix up our condition, gotta regulate insane wealth, gotta dump these politicians, gotta give aid to those who need help, gotta uplift our position. Gotta realize that our leaders want us focused on permission. But let me be the one to tell you that our mental aggregation amounts to one aspect. Pattern interpretation. Radar sweeping all over the stars. I hope you find what you're looking for. Illumination creating the dark. You'll only see what it's searching for.
'Cause I've got the skill.
I want to take some songs. Let me go grab a water bottle.
Can't see me, 'cause I've got the skill to. I'm hiding. We've got a big, big mess on our hands tonight. I've got that secret skill. Well, everything I do is hidden and awkwardly still. I'm seldom known and barely missed. I always put myself in destructive situations. I need oxygen to be exposed where no one goes, where no one's been. They can't see me. Yeah, we've got a big, big mess on our hands tonight. Sing it. Yeah, we've got a big, big mess on our hands tonight. And who's going to hide me? I'm a bear from Montana, that's big sky country. Ain't nowhere like Montana, that's big sky country. Big sky country, Blackfeet country. Please don't hunt me in big sky country. I roam Montana as free as a bear could be. I whisper my secrets to the tallest trees. Big sky country, Ojibwe country. Just let me be in big sky country. I taste the honey from the wildflower blooms. I'll stay running from human wildfire fumes. Big sky country, Plains Creek country. Please don't hunt me in big sky country. So if you see me, just tip your hat, and I'll mosey on by, you know where I'm at. Big Sky Country, Cheyenne Country. Just let me be me in Big Sky Country.
I'm not going to play that song because I don't need my stream. Steve owns his own song, and even though I have the rights to use it to promote the Bear musical, I don't want to go through a whole copyright thing on YouTube, so we're going to skip this one. It's a great one, though.
I wanted you to know that I am ready to go, heart-bah, my heart-bah. I wanted you to know whenever you are around, I can't bleat. I can't bleat. I know what my bleat's like. Sharp hooves on my weak thighs. I stare in the mirror. My reflection's getting clearer. My soul's broken in a pasture of sorrow. I can't escape from my stares. I can't see tomorrow. Nobody behind my bears. I start running. I start climbing. Look at myself. Ain't no use trying. I can't find what I lost. Shit. Did I lose it or did I toss it? The love in the glass of the crack and die. Should I let it pass? Should I pack and fly? Reflecting stares. Shattered there. Fear nothing, for nothing's fair. I avoid the new herd. We all still believe the shit that you heard. So I bleat to the moon in confusion. All the dreams that I thought were illusions. I'm a goat and I know this. That's why I broke the mirror in the first place. 'Cause I wanted you to know that I am ready to go. Heart-bah, my heart-bah. I wanted you to know whenever you are around, I can't bleat. I can't you to know. I'm late night grazing. I feel fate quite crazy. But you don't see the same thing. Well, I don't play the same game. Y'all want me drowning in shame then? Like he ain't a real shaman. I'm just a lonely goat now. But the grass still tastes wow. Stupid. So silly. Hooves down, horns down, feeling chilly. I look in the shards, I'm reflecting. But I can't recognize the reckless. And it's hard to believe what the cracks show. Now the herd's gone, man. Where did the love go? So I bleed out loud in frustration. My heart's reflection, devastation. Is it real? I don't know, but I wanted you to know that I am ready to go. Heart-bah, my heart-bah. I wanted you to know whenever you are around, I can't bleat. I can't bleat. Is it done? Is this like goat shit? Y'all have to pretend you know shit. I'm a jerk, but your brain is the joke pit. I see your steps on songs about bears and I joke sick. He ain't cool shot ball and all that. He just a crazy lord who makes boring dumb crap. He ain't a goat who just forgave your grace and don't get a bear, just a crazy face. And I give no pass for the nose you chose. Up in the air with the love you froze. I'll strip the loaf, I'll be faking it. To fix our labor's cheated, we'll be breaking it. And I know you're still wondering about the reflection that you're shunning. We're the same inside the glass. I had to shatter it to teach the masses, yeah. I wanted us to know that we are ready to go. Heart-bah. Our heart-bah. I wanted us to know whenever we love each other, we can't lose. We can't lose.
All the Let's get back to that ditty. Because if Miss Edna can sing on the bear, you can too.
There's certain something in this world that I like best. I depend on one thing for my total happiness. No, it isn't money. No, it isn't fame. You may think it's funny when I start to explain. Got no shoes on my feet, ain't got nothing to eat, but I've got a heart full of rhythm. Not a dime to my name, but I'm rich just the same, for I've got a heart full of rhythm. Now when the skies are gray and everything's wrong, I'm small, I laugh at them. I find my way by singing a song that the great think I'm small. I laugh at them all, 'cause I've got a heart full of rhythm. Got no shoes on my feet, ain't got nothing to eat, but But I've got a heart that's full of rhythm. Not a dime to my name, but I'm rich just the same. For I've got a heart full of rhythm. Now when the skies are gray and everything's wrong, I find my way by singing a song. Let the great think I'm small. I laugh at them all, for I've got a heart full of rhythm. Now let the great think I'm small. I laugh at them all, but I've got a heart full of rhythm.
Miss Edna sang on a bear and y'all can't? When I say she sang on a bear, I mean the bear market of the early media product. That was from 1939's Lying Lips, an Oscar Micheaux film featuring my great-granduncle Robert Earl Jones. This is James Earl Jones' dad. So Robert Earl Jones, Edna Mae Harris, Oscar Micheaux, they were participating in building media products in what was known as a bear market. Not B-A-R-E, although that's also true. But the bear market is like a market that's moving slow, like nobody's winning. There's not a lot of transactability in the market, it's not a lot of volume. And when we're talking about early media, early cinema, 20s and 30s cinema, there wasn't merchandise necessarily. There wasn't advertising. There was maybe some sponsorship and there was some product placement. And that was maybe the way you could get a little bit of finance ahead of time. But there was only the talent, the story, and the gate. That was the original bear market. And what did Edna do? She sang on it. They sang on the bear. The blueprint's there. The attention doesn't need to be produced with pomp and circumstance and fanciness. The attention comes from love. Just loving each other, loving what came before us, honoring that, and understanding the opportunity to do something really special here. And going back to what I was saying earlier about non-fungible token, I don't like the term I don't like the term NFT. I just don't. We build websites with HTML, right? So we build property puzzles with NFTs. Does that make sense? We build an expression of the internet with PHP, CSS, HTML. We build an expression of value with an NFT. Does that make sense? Like an expression of value, titled by the expressor. And I don't need to make that look fancy for you. I'm one of the founders, I'm one of the people that's fundamental to this behavior existing at all as a practice. I think it'd probably be here without me, but my take on it is coming from 20 years of IP structuring at the highest levels. So I don't want to do a bunch of appeal to authority. My profile hasn't been strong over the past few years because, man, I'm pulling my intestines apart. I don't know what to tell y'all. I lose a lot of time to that. You know? You lay on something like this to hold open your intestines so you don't die of sepsis. And I have to do that 2 or 3 times a day, sometimes 4 times a day, in windows where I have to lay down and pry open that super narrow area of my intestine tract so I don't die. And when I get overwhelmed by pain, that's when I have to go do that. And I can't go work on The Bachelor. I can't even sit in a producer's chair and like help them select scenes. One, I don't care. I'm not going to be good at being a story producer on The Bachelor because I just don't care. I will troll to hell. You let me do an episode of that. You let me fully story produce an episode of that. It'll go super viral. Everybody's gonna love it, but you guys will, yeah. Oh God, I'm gonna build a brand this way. I can already tell. It'll be a little bit Eric Andre, but it'll be always behind high-level cognitive experiences. Wow, that's kind of cool. Shout out to Eric Andre, man. You have like, because of you, we can all do whatever we want. We can all, like any artist out there, we can just kind of like, okay, because of him, we can kind of go do whatever we want. We can approach anything, any type of way. So shout out to Eric Andre. You know, if I'm approaching the foundations of a global market behavior, you may as well do it a little bit like Eric Andre. I guarantee that man gonna sing on a bear. Don't let him be the first celebrity to do it. I actually thought it'd be Doja Cat, but it's probably gonna be the Strange Music Group if I have my readings on it correctly. I'm really tired, and I've been streaming for over 2 hours, so I want to wrap this up. I want to go get a bite to eat. There was one more Impact puzzle to talk about. That's Press Pass Season 1, but I think we'll save that for another day. But that Impact puzzle, you grab a piece of the show, you develop your own character in the lore, you roleplay that character into the lore's canon, and then you shoot a meme based on the roleplayed canon. Those memes become a sports mockumentary archive. Those memes are also collectible content editions that we sell from the LMO Published Marketplace. 1,000 editions per meme. And you get 50% net profit per unit of each edition. If your work's truly original. If it's derivative of sources, then you're at 15% net profit, and 35% net profit would be shared by your sources of derivation. So just keep that in mind when you're generating content for Press Pass. That's a fun world. Fine, I'll talk about it. I'm just so tired, I want something to eat. Dang, I made 6,000 edits on this bad boy? What? That's mostly me. That's crazy work. Ew. Can I go to the main page, please? Okay. Press Pass. All Access. That's the name of the franchise. Press Pass All Access. Should I do this in my transatlantic accent? Press Pass All Access is the intellectual property franchise of Kamani Okara's personal design and creation. Press Pass All Access features a story world ecosystem focused on the microeconomies produced by fictional mixed-gender professional sports leagues throughout the world. This ecosystem finances each production of the franchise by offering a collaborative audience experience in the story world, value assured by proof of labor system that shares success-based residuals for the production, the creator, and all hired labor on each season. Phenomenal. Okay, so we're starting off Season 1. This is actually a giant franchise of collaborative sports documentary, lore crafting, and content. We're starting with Season 1 with fictional professional basketball league called the Basketball Syndicate of America. The BSFA. And we're going to roleplay 74 years of lore of the Basketball Syndicate. And we're going to turn those 74 years of lore into an 8-season. What we're doing at Let Me Out Productions, we're going to turn those 74 years of lore into an 8-season run at telling the story of the sports media circuit covering the very worst professional basketball team in those 74 years of lore. I planted enough pregnant monkeys to guarantee the outcome. Now, past that, I don't think very much of that lore will be reflective of any real-life product at all. So I really don't understand how we got to this whole policing the product thing as, like, defending a brand. Like, I have issues with the brand. I state those issues plainly and clearly to the names of the people that I have the issues with. Why would I go hoodwink asset managers and VCs to spend, at this point, $75 to $90 million on what Sacramento media transacts as a hit piece on a local basketball entertainment brand? Because they objectively run a crony circuit in the press and do a bunch of narrative crafting that is ultimately very pointless. Those are my 10 toes down on business, and the entire press circuit participates in this pointless narrative crafting nonsense. From my observational standpoint, because of clout. because of like the notion of being important. And it's just like, y'all, sing on a bear. Deliberately ignoring this innovation, property becomes property on the blockchain a month before Bored Ape Yacht Club. Local innovation, deliberately ignoring it, refusing to publish a goddamn thing, knowing that my pain, constant 24/7 pain, prevents me from enjoying typing at all, and I still publish quite a lot for you guys to consume and understand the product with. And everybody wants a tech stack. I'm not going to code a tech stack. I know I can do enough to get somewhere, but like, why would I not just hire engineers to enforce the behavior that we're already exhibiting in a more adequate experience stack? Doesn't that make more sense? And doesn't it make more sense to join the experience early to provide that analog data so energy engineers can build a stack around our collective experience, and maybe that stack can expand and be useful for other publishers? So maybe it's not a publisher stack, maybe it's an asset manager stack, which is what I've been saying this whole time. Yeah? Okay. Let's look at some of the future seasons, because it's a riot. I've put... Now, look, I gotta get into Basketball Syndicate of America. I want to wrap up this stream, damn it. I'll give myself 10, 15 more minutes. The Basketball Syndicate of America is a professional basketball collective operating internationally in the universe of Press Pass All Access. Also known as The Syndicate, the collective is composed of 30 teams, 28 in the United States and 2 in Canada, as the show begins in 2012. So Press Pass Main is what we call our main series, our 8-season run that we're shooting here in Sacramento. That narrative starts in 2012. In like fall of 2012 is when the Press Pass Main narrative starts. And when that narrative starts, the Syndicate has 30 teams. Founded in 1939, the Basketball Syndicate of America was launched shortly at... let's get there. Yeah? Character work. Founded in 1939, the Basketball Syndicate of America was launched shortly after the Black Actors Guild of America, formerly known as the Negro Actors Guild of America. In mission alignment with the Black Actors Guild, the Basketball Syndicate of America formed as an attempt to change the way Americans, who are essentially defined as black due to their visual appearance, were portrayed in the global media exports of the United States. The BSFA was launched as a mixed-gender professional basketball league, founded by a black Haitian woman and a black American man as business partners with zero on professional involvement. These original founders wanted to establish a professional sports system that celebrated the many-gendered warrior ancestry shared by much of the world. And while I'm here, I want to show everybody why this is so cool. Co-publishing, right? So I know that I've updated the site to include these characters. So we actually have a Jacqueline Doucet right there. That's the black Haitian woman. And we have the black American man right there. And everybody who's working on everybody who's developing the property can go in and edit articles like this. Obviously, that's a feature of the Wikimedia environment itself, but I want to encourage people to think about developing intellectual property as like a MySpace-style experience. Yeah, you can have what's published for everybody to consume, and then there's the nitty-gritty of learning, getting in behind the scenes and getting into the tech side of it. So this is the same opportunity, the same sort of experience, in fact, I want people to enjoy. Is like, okay, we're grabbing a title here, we're plugging it into these enforcement systems that are free and everybody can use and copy me. And we're now in that sort of MySpace development atmosphere. So while I'm here, I'm going to go Gaius Siebelin, there he is, and we're going to save it. Okay, and then now, when you click on Black American Man, it takes you to the Black American Man who founded the league. By the way, this is a real person. Creative Commons. He's long dead. Okay, black Haitian woman. This is not a real person. This is a lady I made up years ago. I made her up in... Well, I had a guy playing for the Nova Scotia Frosties in my 2K sim, and he was like her great-grandson. And he was a Doucet, and he was phenomenal. Oh no, he played for the Hawaii team. Which I didn't put a Hawaii team in the show. I gave you guys a hockey team instead. That's way more fun. It's way funnier. Okay. So this here is a version, like you grab a piece of, she's available. You can literally grab and own this character in our show lore. Your character, like your Jacqueline Doucet, that's now your intellectual property. You own that character titled as your property. You're developing that character in our show lore using our lore game experience, where we tabletop role play the lore, and then you shoot a meme based on the canon that's established, and then those memes are our archive. We'll use them in flashbacks and references and episodes, and we'll also use them as advertisements, and there'll be edition-based content collectibles for everybody to purchase. And we're doing 20% net profit to labor, off 20% property ownership distributed to labor, because that's the labor agency that results in the show. And I will tell you what, for all the guff I've gotten from like Wall Street and the top levels of the economy for my work here, you know what's gonna give me even more guff? Them harebrained people that have never seen these machines work before, and the money machines, who think that we can do 50% to labor and things like that. Sure, some products can do it, but not something like this. Also, that 20% to labor is going to change people's lives. It's going to change lives. I think everybody should do it. We should be honored to do it. We should be honored to share the results of our intellectual property container by sharing 20% of the container. Okay, it's not that much. We're talking 2 or 3 letters out of the word. It's not that much. To do what we're doing now, lore crafting into the meat and potatoes underlying the experience, and then evolving that meat and potatoes into its own market of collectible content editions. James Earl Jones' grandnephew. It's there. It's all there. I'm just going to take it. So it's like, get out of the way. Get on and ride it, or get out of the fucking way. Is what I got to say about that to everybody. Get on the way, or get on and ride, or get out of the way. Because it's all there. This table is fully set. And I did a lot of the setting. My family did a lot of the setting too. And guess what I'm going to eat? Got my fork, got my knife, got a spoon. A couple beverages over there. Yeah, I'm hungry. So, we're taking it. And I'm going to let that mean what it needs to mean to the folks who need it to mean something. Alright? That's what a certain agent in this industry told me about the weight of my granduncle's name. Let it mean what it needs to mean to the people who need it to mean something. So, we're taking the container of the intellectual property, and these are limited containers. These are, like, obviously Let Me Out Productions is a root brand, but you can also form a container on a yearly release. I could do Let Me Out Production 2025 and do a container that way, and do a 100,000 piece puzzle every year, and have new relationships form new results every year. And everybody should do this. Every brand, product, service, experience, distributed asset, everything in the country should launch an impact puzzle, have people develop their results, and we can bring back American manufacturing overnight, for example, and have people take pride in showing up and doing the nitty-gritty, because we own our results as property. And those results are forever anchoring us to the compound value of what we're contributing. So what we're contributing, honestly, doesn't really matter. That's the kind of the point of the bear. The compound value is what matters. There's so many. You guys, by the time you really understand me, I hope that you're laughing as much as I am, because it's pretty fun. But I am alone in it quite often. Okay, so yeah, check it out. We got the Basketball Syndicate of America. Honestly, people like the teams, mixed gender teams, with power elements and basketball gods, each team, right? So in the main show, we're covering the Sacramento Majesty, but the Syndicate has 30 teams, and they all have deep lores that are set up. I've I publish in a style called Pregnant Monkey Storytelling. So I'm basically thinking I've got my George R. R. Martin map of the world. I've been building this house since 2016. It's exhausting. I actually threw a lot of that stuff out. Like over 90% of that stuff I threw out because of what this technology allows the co-publishing to do. I said, okay, well, shit, I don't need to like meticulously decide all of the history from 1965 on of the Portland Freebirds and go through every roster, every character on every roster, every fan, you know what I mean? Like, I don't need to I can, and I did do that. I had a really great world build. I've kept a lot of that stuff, but I said, that's the opportunity. Like, let's do that together. Let's get the George R. R. Martin flesh and potato. Like, let's get the flesh on the skeleton together. Because he is the master class of that. Like, the deep lore stuff, knowing what happened in his world 500 years before the main story, and 500 years after the main story. Like, he knows all these things. But expecting the rest of us to compete that way, we don't have 30 years to sit there and, like, write on one story world, my brother. Like, that's crazy. Like, that's nuts. Some of us do, some of us try, but even then you have the attention funnel problem. And that's something I don't, like, you guys might receive it as arrogance or ego or whatever. I just receive it as, like, a smart investment of my time. I'm not going to do investment funnel nonsense. Where is it? Shit. After the Vader blood thing, I mean, where? I'll just load that up. That's a really good point. Okay, so this is the first piece of our impact puzzle in the brand on the Public Notary, March 24th, 2021. And we have the first piece of impact in the Bored Ape Yacht Club, April 22nd, 2021. Now, I have grown to, I know that they have, like, a lot of problematic imagery. I'm not here to discuss or debate any of that stuff. I'm not a part of Bored Ape Yacht Club. I don't represent their brand. Given the nature of their founding core, a lot of their jokes that they have are like inside jokes, and that's like for them and for their community to enjoy and debate, and it's their brand, right? It's literally their brand to share, so they can decide how best to represent themselves. I'm really proud of them, not because of problematic stuff. I'm going to get myself in trouble by saying I'm really proud of them because of the problematic stuff, and I hope they can try to empathize with that. But so many of their owner developers have permanent results on the market. They didn't have like a strict impact tree like what we have for Let Me Out Productions. There wasn't like a list of 15 things that you did with an ape. It was just like, you own this now, be blessed, and go form a lifestyle identity with this thing. And so many people formed downline markets with it. We had a person open up a weed dispensary, we had a person open up a restaurant, we had a person open up a shoe brand. There's people that opened up printing services, and they did their own blockchain called ApeChain, and that thing's popping. That's why Mudang Sing is built on is priced on ApeChain. And then as soon as I pitch it, not a month later, Dangs on Ape come out. That was odd. That was very odd. This keeps happening to me in Web3. I say something out loud on a radio broadcast, and then it mysteriously is a product not too long after, without any credit. Or in some cases, people know it comes from me, but the radio broadcast accused me of a crime and then took credit. While leaving my mom out in the street to die. I get so angry about it, man. I get so angry. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Let's get back to the show, then we'll shut up. So we have West Side Group, Bay Area Traffic, Los Angeles Wet Fountains, the Malibu Yachts of Los Angeles. What's up, Running Point? David, Mindy, Elaine, y'all want to run y'all want to run Running Point for 5, 6, 7 seasons. This is the answer. This is the answer. I can accommodate a lot of this stuff. I have not watched season 1, but I get the gist, and I feel like there's a lot of adjustments. Look, they already changed their name a ton. It's a gag of this. So if they were the Long Beach Yachts until 1981, then they became the Malibu Yachts of Los Angeles from 81 till whenever, maybe like 3 or 4 seasons before Running Point starts, then they become the Los Angeles Waves. That's exactly the kind of accommodation that we could put in the lore and have it work. The other wrinkle is, I know that the team that you guys presented in season 1 was all men, and then I have no idea what other brands you presented around your fictional professional basketball. I feel like all of that can be worked into the lore. I'm not going to adjust other brands across our BSFA for whatever Running Point did sideways, but their specific thing, the Los Angeles Waves, that can be worked in. And it could be even a fun story point to have them return to the branding of that was popular in the 90s, because they did win a championship in 1992. If you guys need a championship year in your lore, I could probably move something around, because we're, like I said, that's Pregnant Monkey stuff. We don't need it set in stone. Like, who wins in 2006? I forget. Like, I know the St. Paul Youpers win in 2002 and 2003, but I could easily make that the Los Angeles Waves. That's an easy adjustment to make to accommodate your storytelling and your vibes that you guys want to go for. And then we can kind of build off each other. Anyway, check out. I'm tired, y'all. I need to go get some food. The sandbox is incredible. It's my life work, honestly, in the sandbox. And I did spend 10 years covering the product in professional basketball. And people are starting to respect where I come from with that. So yeah, I'm gonna go grab a bite. Thank you for watching. 2.5 hours, so that's not so bad. The biggest live audience today was on TikTok. TikTok stream, YouTube simultaneous stream. Musical Bears, everybody check it out. Check out presspass.fandom.com, check out musicalbears.fandom.com, and check out letmeout.productions. I'm working on the new site right now. If you want to see that new site while it's in progress, scroll to the bottom of letmeout.productions and go to the Let Me Out main site. Alright, y'all, thanks for watching. This has been Let Me Out Productions and the top brass down. Hey, 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 hey.